You're listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast brought to you by DraftKings. Great deal going on. You throw down $5 on the Super Bowl. If you're a new customer, you win $280 in free plays. That simple, that easy. All right, Anthony Gimino, John Schuster. I am merely Mike Luke. All right, guys, we got a lot to get here right now. We've got quite a few comments to get to. But first, Arizona wins 92-68. And this team was never more encapsulated to me than when Arizona is down, it was
somewhere in the neighborhood of 25-11, I think.
It was 20, excuse me. Yeah, perfect. It was 25-11, and then they go up, 45-36 at the half. You go on a 30-9 run, the game's over right there after you look terrible. Guys, and I wasn't even really surprised, and I think that's really kind of the hallmark of the team. Anthony, what do you think?
Well, it's been a few weeks since I've been with you too. So, but what's changed? What's changed in 3 weeks? Like nothing. You still love this team. If anything, even more so because they've just come off perhaps the best 5-game in 10 days regular season stretch.
Right.
Recent memory.
22-2 now.
Yeah. I mean, okay, let's go back to the beginning. You beat the number 3 team, then you beat a top 20 team. You spot your rival 13 points on the road and absolutely take their soul in beating them, then you had pretty much easily handle a Washington State team that was really gunning for you. And then you spot the Huskies 14 and blow them out. I mean, Arizona finished the game making 30 of their last 42 shots.
Wow. I did not. That's insane. 30 of their last 42.
Even with that loss to UCLA seems a long time ago. But I mean, I would have thought if anything, 5th game in 10 days, 3rd game in a row on the road. You're on the second leg of the longest road trip in the league. Okay, you started slowly, but these guys are young, right?
Right.
They run all day. So it's even more impressive than last time I joined you guys.
Shu, what do you think?
This is Reaper basketball right now. It doesn't matter where they are, what position they're in. The confidence level is there, and this is, I think, the pinnacle of what you want. This is the example of what I think Tommy Lloyd wants the system to ultimately be. Continue, press. Keep working. I don't mean necessarily press defensively, just the style. Keep pushing things offensively, and it's eventually going to work its way through. And that was an example here. It was an example against ASU. They are playing with supreme confidence right now, and not just confidence, but it appears they're comfortable with the system. They understand what it is they're supposed to do. They know that they can get support and complement for a number of players on the floor. And now you're up and down the roster trying to find players who aren't playing well, and you're not doing a very good job doing it. Terry turned in another nice day. Mathurin and Tubelis had double-figure scoring outputs. Larson was good again. Ballo struggled a little bit in the early going with Washington's big guy, and then bounced back along with everybody else. Koloko ultimately fouled out, but was very impressive on the interior. It was an excellent performance for Arizona, and unfortunately, I don't know. One of those games that was on the Pac-12 network, so as a result, there wasn't maybe a whole heck of a lot of folks nationally watching this, because if they were watching this nationally, I think Arizona gets a lot of number 1 votes this week.
And we've talked about this throughout, and this has been basically the entire season. And guys, we're going to get to your comments here in just a second. But this team, if you're not of similar talent, you are not hanging with this team. They will destroy you. I can't, and it's funny. I should have looked this up. I didn't. Malfeasance on my part. But I would be curious to go back and look and see that the last team that played Arizona wasn't either USC, UCLA, or USC or UCLA in conference that was within even 10 points.
Was it coincidentally Washington down here?
I don't know. I can't remember on that one, to be honest with you.
Because it seemed like, again, that was one of those games when we were talking about it. I know others can access the score better off the top of their head or with the material in front of them. But I remember that, Terrell Brown, again, had a huge game in that one. We talked about how he was how Washington was attacking creases specifically defensively. And that was a matchup that was a big, going to be a big problem. And we focused on that being an area where some teams have a potential advantage, and they're going to try to utilize it against Arizona. Brown in this game as well. So I remember that Washington game being spirited. Right. And it was in that kind of window where Arizona wasn't playing particularly well, and a lot of those games were a little off. But that, as Anthony noted, that seems like a long time ago. Arizona has improved, and an improvement for a team that was already good is a scary proposition for the landscape of college basketball.
Yeah, that Washington game, I mean, it ended up being a 16-point win back in early January. Right. But since then, it's those other three guys. And that's why I love, the 8-man rotation is optimum.
Perfect. Thank you. I was going to get to that, but go ahead.
Yeah, and that's really the difference from early January, where Ballo's a lot better, Larson's a lot better, and Kyer's still been pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there's no drop-off, and in this really busy, hectic schedule, when you can play your starters 25 to 28 minutes instead of 32 to 35, that's going to be a big difference down here as we get into March.
I think what a lot of teams and a lot of people don't realize, and this is going to be a Mike Luke phrase that I'm going to throw out here, but this might be the tallest team in school history. And I can't remember who the commentator was. It's driving. It doesn't really matter. But he was saying, you don't really realize when you watch Arizona on TV, you don't realize just how tall, how big they are until you're actually out there on the court at the time. Because these are guys that, again, when you're going 6'2", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 7'1", that's NBA size across the board right there. So, and this is, I don't think a lot of people realize that because they look at the running and gunning, you're scoring a lot of points, but this is also a team that physically is just big, I guess, for lack of a better term. Then, by the way, you bring in Umar Ballo off the bench, who, by the way, is probably the biggest player on the team. By the way, Sorn for Washington State or Washington looked like he was about 9 feet tall out there. Yeah. So, all right, so guys, let's get to some comments here. That second half, let's see here. Ricky Garrett mentioned the second half right here, and it's weird. Arizona doesn't really hit you like you can basically hang with them for a little while, and you never really know when that run's going to hit. But this one basically started at about the 10-minute mark and then just went into the second half there, AG.
Yeah, I mean, once Washington had their great start, and again, they're going to come out. They've got the crowd. They're going to have the most energy right there, and Terrell Brown was just absolutely insane. But Arizona didn't panic because they don't panic because, in large part, Tommy Lloyd gives them the ultimate confidence. What do you think Sean Miller would have done when Ben Mathurin went up to kind of try to do a monster dunk and then he changes his mind and he misses the layup? Do you think Sean would have blown up on the sidelines?
I think Sean would have.
Nothing matters.
Right.
Just go back out there and play.
Go ahead, Hugh.
No. That's all right. What Anthony is saying and what you were adding is spot on. I think we're in accordance with that. Miller's tendency to be a lot more upset was one of those things that I think could affect the flow of just letting talent be talent. And Lloyd does a phenomenal job of that. And it's something we talked about the other night in regards to number of possessions and the style of play and why this works. Arizona likes to run controlled, but sometimes even if it gets out of control or with extra possession, something just doesn't quite go right. It's like, all right, you get them the next time. That seems to be one of the Lloyd mantras. It's going to work. You're going to get them the next time. And for Arizona, that I think that's kind of become a contagious attitude. There have been times where, it's been frustrating, which is weird to say when overall the team is 22-2 and playing as well as it is right now. But I think a lot of that frustration, not all of it, but a lot of that frustration is the number of possessions, and when you have more possessions, there's more of an opportunity to remember things that didn't go right. But there's also more of an opportunity for the things that go wrong. And it's a lot of that leads to Arizona's consecutive run of double-figure victories, or just being, consistent in that regard. I know, Mike Luke hates comparisons. So
hate him. I hate him.
Nobody hates comparisons more than, and I know there's a fair amount of young people who are out there. Everybody I get is, at least 3 or 4 centuries younger than I am. So there were a lot of folks who don't necessarily remember 1988. This is a lot like 1988. They just the level of dominance is the type of thing that you almost don't appreciate it as it's happening throughout the course of the year. And there are times where you don't believe it continues this way. And yet, game in, we keep talking, game in and game out. Well, on the road at Washington, that could be a problem. Terrell Brown's, an issue. And then Washington jumps out to a 25-11 lead. It's like, ooh, that could be a problem. And Arizona just blows their doors off. Washington State, as Anthony noted the week, Washington State's got a lot of athletes. That's pretty good. They're a bouncy basketball team, playing hard, crowds going crazy. Arizona blows their doors off. ASU up in Tempe. Wow, Sun Devils are playing a lot better basketball. Won that triple overtime game against UCLA. They're fired up. They're a heck of a lot different. Played Tucson tough and, played Arizona tough in Tucson, blah, blah, blah. Cats go up there, yield them a big lead, blow them out of the building. This is what the 88 team did. And I'm not sure exactly how this is going to play out, but it's hard not to feel good as a Wildcat fan about what you're watching right now and appreciate it as well.
All right, we're going to get to Dalen Terry here in a second. But before Dalen Terry, if there's one thing that he can wait for, it is the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Code word PHNX. All right, Anthony, you might be saying I've been away for a couple weeks. I haven't been answering Mike's texts, probably with good reason. What's going on with DraftKings? Here's the deal. You got the Super Bowl coming up tomorrow, right? You probably know. Throw down $5 if you're a new customer, and you get $280 in free plays if that team wins. Eligibility restrictions apply. Arizona only, 21 and up. You've got a gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. AG, who do you like in the Super Bowl?
Man. If I were betting, Mike, and you know how much I just
never.
I'm going Bengals. I like it. I've watched the rest of the playoffs. I've seen a lot of close games. I don't think one team has a really huge advantage, so I'm going to jump on the points.
All right, let's do it. All right. Now, let's talk a little Dalen Terry right here. Another guy I want to do, because Schuster and I have been talking about him pretty much ad nauseum right here. Dalen Terry is the one guy that, if you were to just look at preseason expectations, I think everybody thought Mathurin would be good. There was reason to indicate, and Coloco's obviously a little bit like Terry in this, but Terry is the one guy that just seems to get better and better and better game in and game out, to where I don't know exactly what his numbers were, but again, if he's to get 12 rebounds in a game, you're not at all surprised. If he's to get 9 assists, right, you're not at all surprised. If he was to get 13 points and 8 deflections, he really has become that jack of all trades that I don't think anybody could have expected to this level this year.
He's going to get that triple-double someday and join Matt Muehlbach and crew as being members of that triple-double club. But as you might know, Mike, a couple weeks ago, I went to the USC game here as a fan. Which was a really strange experience. But the reason I bring that up is because my seats were behind the Arizona basket on the lower level. But when Terry had that 70-foot alley-oop pass for a dunk,
right?
I mean, I was right behind it, so I could see it the whole way. And I'm up elevated a little bit. There was no way he could make that pass. First of all, I mean, you would look at that and say, you wouldn't even think of attempting it. But the fact that he did, and it went that distance and it was perfect, was absolutely stunning, especially from that vantage point. It was as good as anything I've ever seen. And so that's the kind of skill he brings, that he not only has the skill to do it, but he has the vision to do it. And that's, that's kind of like you're almost bringing back some memories of TJ McConnell. Because TJ had vision that, and it's like regular human beings wouldn't even attempt passes like that.
Well, right, exactly.
He has all that. So he's got the huge basketball IQ, and then the skill. I mean, obviously, the only thing he's really missing is he needs to add another 10% to his 3-point shooting. But he's a young dude, and he can certainly improve that over time.
Eldridge Rakasner's shoe, I thought, made an interesting point. Were you listening with the volume on, or were you thinking yourself?
I was listening to a lot of Jeffrey's broadcast on the radio today.
I was going to say that's always a good call. We like our friend Brian Jeffries a great deal. Listen to him.
As a quick aside, and then we can get to Rakasner for a moment. The Washington students section was outstanding in this game, and you could hear them give Terry all kinds of grief throughout the course of the game, and it was great. They were, apologies in advance. There's a little bit of PG-13 in case you didn't hear this. There were a lot of Terry sucks chants going on. They were kind of lighthearted, and in a way, there was the student section was in it, and they decided they were going to pick on Dalen Terry, and they rode Terry constantly throughout the course of this game until about there was 5 minutes left, and when the game was over. And then the student section starts chanting one of two things. They start chanting, "We love Terry. We love Terry." Completely came around. They knew the game was done. The joke was over. Terry was in on the joke. It was kind of entertaining. You could hear it really well behind Jeffries. In addition to them wanting the Seattle kid to play, who did play for the last minute and a half in crunch time. That was the two things the Washington student section wanted. But they picked on Terry today, and the exchange was pretty good. And Terry got the best of him, and in a weird way, kind of turned him to his side.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I like. And again, I'm hoping it's been dealt with, but I thought the students and the expletives, if we talked quite a bit about, I thought were humiliating, to be honest with you, because again, there's so many better ways to get into somebody's head. I always bring up the Michael Dickerson example. Anthony, have you heard this?
Maybe. Start telling the story.
All right. So Schuster's heard this probably 12 times. So
I'm going to drink.
Yeah, go ahead. So, but to people out there that haven't heard this story, bear with me. It's a good story. So this is back when Maples is absolutely going crazy. 1997, 98, 96, 97. I can't remember. Michael Dickerson's at the free throw line. And all of these fans start chanting out Shayna over and over. And everyone's like, who the heck's that? And Dickerson was asked about that after the game. And he said something to the effect, that one threw me off. That was a girlfriend I broke up with like 3 weeks ago. And this is before the social media age. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's fun, not anyways. All right. I feel like an old person right now. Let me ask you guys this. You're looking at and again, we're grasping at straws right here, or whatever the term is.
That is the term.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sorry, I'm a little discombobulated.
If you're British, if you're British and you want to reference one of the greatest neo-prog albums of all time,
Bruno
you would say you're clutching at straws.
Okay.
Hello, Bruno. Hello, Mr. Luke. You're clutching at straws. Marillion's Marillion's fourth album from 1987. It's a must listen.
What I don't love about this team, though, and we got Tony's takes coming up here in a minute, and John Schuster is also going to participate in Tony's takes with me just being Mike Luke. But I guess the question, did the slow starts worry you guys at all? Is this something that,
I don't know. It's one of those things. Apologies, Anthony, for stepping on you there. It's one of those things where if Arizona gets bounced in the tournament, you might say, oh, it's because of all those slow starts that happen. But Arizona has been just as effective at, going on 15-2 runs to start a game too. So I think it's just one of those things that there are points in the game where, because of the number of possessions and maybe Arizona gets a little laissez-faire, where some team is capable of going on a run. But over the course of 40 minutes, generally speaking, and clearly this has played itself out, Arizona is fine by the end of the 40. So whether the slow start thing, I'm guessing is just a statistical anomaly. It's almost like saying to some degree, because you notice it at the beginning, but it's almost like saying to some degree, you know what, that between 8 and 12 minute timeout, Arizona just doesn't play particularly well in the first half. And I feel like a lot of that is the same. The eventuality of this is that's Arizona's the Tommy Lloyd Arizona system with the talent that it has works over the scope of 40 minutes, and it wears down the opposition. And that's what we've seen. So whether there are pockets in there that get away from them, that's always a possible topic of fodder in regards to things that might hurt Arizona in the long term, but I don't think it's a pattern by any stretch.
Yeah, I think that's somebody. I'm not worried about it. I think that's trying to find a solution for a problem that doesn't really exist. They've had times, like Shu mentioned, where they've gotten off to great starts. If I was wearing a hat right now, and I hope Shu is for like the next segment,
Tony's takes,
I would just be tipping my hat to the other team. The other team, whether it's ASU, whether it was Washington, hey, they came out and played great, hit a few early shots. Great, super. Applause for doing that for 5 whole minutes. Congratulations. Big deal. Arizona closed the game on it.
Oh, man. I hope there are a bunch of ASU fans watching right now, because Anthony Gimino has just gone into full take that ASU trash mode. This is special, unique territory right here.
We're just going to edit. We can edit that and put it into the Tony's Take segment, Mike. Is that how this works?
Yeah, we could do that. All right. First and foremost, though,
he won't, but he could.
Yes. Something that's just as important as Tony's takes to the show. Well, actually, it's more important, nothing personal, is the DraftKings Sportsbook app. That's how I get paid here. Code word PHNX. Throw down $5 on the Super Bowl, and if that team wins, you get $280 in free plays. New customers only. Now, Anthony's going with the Bengals.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Rams. I think the Rams win by about 10 to 14 points. John Schuster actually agrees with me on this. So go with whatever you want. That's where we are, DraftKings Sportsbook app. Now, here's the segment that everybody thinks about when Anthony Gimino comes on, and it's Tony's Takes. Here's the deal. Anthony, people that know me know that I like to make bold proclamations or comparisons. And you know what? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right behind your love of ranking things.
Correct. All right, ranking things as well, yes. But Anthony Gimino is a different kind of guy. He goes by the book. He's a real professional, where I'm having fun right here. So I always I'm not going to give the exact example, but real quick, since it's going to become a regular when Anthony's on, I came up with a conspiracy about Lane Kiffin a long time ago in the college football playoffs. Without getting into the details right here, I'm on the phone with Anthony, and Anthony says, I'm not going to entertain any of that nonsense, and he hangs up on me. That's a professional. The other one is Mike Luke. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Yes.
So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a statement about the Wildcats, and I'm going to make one off Wildcat remark. Shu can either speak in Anthony's saying, or Anthony can speak for himself, but you both are going to speak here when I give this. So here it is right now. Here's the graphic. Tony's Takes. It doesn't get any deeper than that. The production department did great work. All right. Mike.
What the hell is that, Schuster? I like the glasses. That's good.
All right. Here's my remark, fellas. This is the best Arizona basketball team here since 2002, 2003. If you guys can't remember out there listening, the starting lineup was Gardner, Salim Stoudemire, Walton, Rick Anderson, Fry, Iguodala, Adams off the bench. A lot of people telling me that Sean Miller had a better team right there. I say this is the best team since that 02-03 team. Anthony, you're up. Then John Schuster, you as Anthony is up.
Can I answer this as Schuster doing me? So it'd be me doing Schuster doing me.
Anthony, we're blessed to have you on. You go with whatever direction you want here.
My guess is that Schuster would posit this as, well, Mike, we're only in mid-February, and really the games that matter are in March. So I think it's premature to say that this is the best team since the 2002-03 squad. That's how I think Schuster would play it. I'm going to agree with you. I think this is the best team since 02-03.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it matches the 2014, 2015 Sean Miller teams that ran right into Wisconsin at the end.
Right.
In terms of, hey, this is a top 5 defensive team in the country.
Right.
This team can also run you out of the building.
And that's the difference. They can just hit you like that. Now, John Schuster, What you can go any direction you want with this one.
Well, let's all admit, Anthony Gimino does a much better John Schuster than John Schuster does an Anthony Gimino. So we know who the real talent in this group is. But I would posit here, throwing back a question, Mike Luke, in your general direction, because I will not say this as Anthony Gimino because I am a professional and I do not make bold statements. But someone here needs to make a bold statement, and the bold statement is now. The question is on the table. So, Mike Luke, since you're the one who likes to make the bold statements, here's the question. Are you ready?
I am. I'm seated.
Is Arizona going to win the national championship?
So,
oh, now you're doing Anthony Gimino, who's doing John Schuster in your hedging answer here. No. And in the process, you're not doing Mike Luke.
All right, I'm going to do Mike Luke right here. I'm going to say if you're giving me the field or Arizona, as much as I hate to say this, I'm taking the field over Arizona.
Is Arizona going to win the national championship?
No.
No.
Right. But here's what you should
because Mike Luke doing me, doing Schuster doing me, understands this is all about odds. It's about the odds. Kind of like when you play on DraftKings, right?
Those are that is. And honestly,
you may really love Arizona, but still the odds are,
I wonder if any of our viewers right now. I wonder if any of our viewers and listeners and scrollers below are more bold than Mike Luke.
Yeah. All right, everybody out there, I see you all right here. I've got the numbers right in front of me from 3 different platforms.
Arizona is going to win the national championship.
Speak for me right now as I got nervous and didn't speak. All right, here's the first one that's come in. Jeff Mojave says, at least the Final Four, John Schuster. That's not what was asked, though, Jeff, even though we very much appreciate the remark. I am curious to see what some of these that come in are. All right. Let's see here. Arizona is going to win the national championship. Ricky Garrett, right there.
There you go. Ricky Garrett was the first to say it.
All right.
Right on record right there. Way to go, Ricky.
Johnny attacking.
Oh, Johnny. Yeah.
Right. Sorry if I mangled that, but yes.
He's got multiple exclamation points there.
In all fairness, I think everybody's going to say that they're going to win. It's going to be about 100-0. Watch this. I'm not wishy-washy, Mike Luke. 100% national champions.
Yeah, take that, Mike Luke.
Which is also super easy to say when there's nothing at stake, right?
Correct. There is nothing at stake, but
you know who didn't say it?
Outcomes here.
But Anthony, you know who didn't say it? Mr. Proclamation, Mike Luke. You don't expect Shu and Anthony Gimino to say this, but Mike Luke had an opportunity in Tony's Take segment,
right,
to pick Arizona to win the national championship. And what did he do? He pulled a Gimino and Schuster. But the fans here, the folks on the scroll, are stepping up at their moment, and they're making the proclamation. Right. And I love seeing it.
Let's do it this way.
What's up?
Here we may get you to have a really positive back the A statement.
Okay, let's do it. I'm in.
That you got a chance to get Arizona at plus 800.
Yes.
You're doing it. You're putting money. You're putting hard-earned DraftKings money back into DraftKings.
I am.
Even more money.
I am. That is 100% what I'm doing. Here's the problem, guys, is that I think Arizona, if you were to ask me who is going to – all right. I think Arizona is the best team in college basketball right now. I do. And they would be my number one seed. And if I could only take one team, I'm taking Arizona. But you know what? If you're giving me the field or Arizona, there's a reason here that I'm in a beat-up hat and a La Quinta Inn in Fort Collins, Colorado. I don't have the money that some people out there do. So that's where I'm going with that one, guys. All right. So all right. Next question. We got one more.
Okay.
We got one more Tony's takes. I'm very curious as to this one. Okay. Kirk Kriisa currently is shooting from the field 31.5% from three. This was before the game, and 36. Sorry, it's buffering right here. 36 from the field. Can you win a national championship with your point guard shooting those percentages? Go.
Of course
you want to start, Anthony?
Yeah. Why couldn't you?
Start away.
Because it hasn't happened.
He's not shooting all of the team's field goals.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, He doesn't need to be hot for 6 consecutive games to win the national title.
But can he shoot these? These are the worst percentages besides Dejon Davis and all of Power 5 starting point guards.
Well, he's shooting 34% from 3. It's just had most of those probably like 5 of 7 in one game, and so he's really shooting a little bit worse normally.
All right.
But yeah, I can, as long as he's assisting the ball, and then somebody mentioned there in the comments, not turning it over.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think now, the other thing,
Anthony spoke. Now we have Anthony's interpreter.
As Anthony Gimino here. Part of the thing that comes into play when you're looking at the broader level of statistics here, Mike Luke, and it's important to delve into the numbers just a little bit deeper than on the surface. Sure, Kriisa shoots threes at a low 30 percentile. What you're hoping doesn't happen in terms of Arizona's success in the NCAA tournament, it's okay if Kriisa is maybe 3 for 10 in a game, not so good if he's 3 for 20. And if there are games where he gets a little bit out of his comfort zone and feels like there's something that he needs to do and forces it a little bit, that could be a problem for Arizona in a key game in the tournament. If he can avoid that, then he can still be a very instrumental and play a supportive role in Arizona's success as it tries to make a deep tournament run, even as you are unwilling to make the commitment that we expected. All right. Saying that Arizona would win the national title. Now, by virtue of your question, I can only suggest that you don't believe Arizona even has a chance.
I wish I actually paced myself and talked as slowly as Schuster does when he's trying to be me. So thanks. That's good feedback here, Shu. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right.
Public speaking training. I appreciate it.
All right, Anthony. Before we sign off here, I did want to get to something because what's that?
Go ahead.
Anthony right here.
God help us.
Is a call. Anthony right here. Nobody in the city knows more about U of A football than Anthony Gimino. That is a proclamation that we will not put into Tony's takes because it's true. I believe it. Everyone here believes it. All right, Anthony. Oh, and by the way, you should be on the Go PHNX website. Get the membership. If you get the membership, you get a free Back the A t-shirt. It's that easy. It's that simple. These things are going like hotcakes. It's so bad that there was actually a group of people making knockoff Back the A t-shirts. I kid you not.
Yeah,
Don't do it. That's illegal.
Anthony, quit making knockoff Back the A t-shirts.
I was talking over you, Shu.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about you, so it's okay that nobody heard that.
I can find out later, but I want to hear some more about that.
Oh no, I cannot. I'll call you when I'm off. All right. So real quick,
please don't.
All right, that's fine. You can text me. That's easy. Okay, that's fair. That's a fair point. All right, Arizona brings in the best recruiting class, at least on paper, in school history. I'll say this: the kids that I've seen on campus look much different than the players that I've seen come in here for about the last 15 years. Not talking anything on the field, haven't seen them, but just at media day, watching them, these guys are big. They are, the receivers across the board look 6'4", 6'4". You've got an offensive lineman who's 330 pounds that's, looks like he's 280, who's probably going to start immediately. These guys look the part, Shu. Again, I don't know, or excuse me, AG. These guys look the part right here. Just some initial thoughts on the recruiting class, just, from a little bit of a, from a county perspective.
All right. If I can, I guess I can trust your eyes on that one. Do they all look like Chris McAllister to you?
They don't look like Chris McAllister or Chuck Levy or Rob Gronkowski.
Okay. That's a very high bar.
Right.
But let me say this, and I'll try to do this off the top of my head as best I can. The bar to me, now great. I think you're right. This is probably the best class on paper. Mm-hmm. So, but what is the actual bar?
What's the comparison?
What's the best class in school history?
What's the ranking and the comparison?
Well, I think to me it's the 1990 class, which was rated 5th or 6th in the league, maybe 7th. So nothing special. But that class had a college football Hall of Famer in Rob Waldrop. Mm-hmm. It had a national award winner in Steve McLaughlin. Okay, it's kicker, right?
Right.
It also in addition to maybe, I mean, we think
maybe the best kicker in school history. Easily can make that case.
Probably Zendejas, but
Right
maybe
there.
number 2. Arguably the best punter in school history, Josh Miller. It had another first-team All-American in Tony Bowie. It had first-team All-Pac-10 linebacker and NFL player Sean Harris. It had a bunch of guys like Mike Heemsbergen, Pulu Pumele, somebody else who I forget, who were like just rock-solid guys on the offensive line. It had Mike Skurlock, local kid.
Choya, Sunnyside.
So basically, like out of that class, I remember doing a story on this one. They got like, in addition to all the high-level guys, they got 17 of those guys really hit as Pac-10 level starters or above.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's the greatest class in school history. You basically had like 4 All-Americans, a college football Hall of Famer.
Maybe the best defense. One of the
7, 8, 9 guys in that class who went on to play in the pros out of maybe about 22, 23 man class. That in that class was absolutely considered nothing special.
Right.
So that's the bar that will be, to me, that's the bar we'll compare them to in 3, 4, 5 years.
All right. Real quick then. I think 4 wins is where I would put the that's the OU for me right here. I think when you got a quarterback in there that is at least competent in Delora, I think that helps a game or two. If you were going with Cruz or Plummer or McLeod, he's better than those two, obviously, but you get my point. It would have been lower. I think 4 wins is a very reasonable number considering who you're bringing in. What do you guys go with before we sign off here?
Go ahead, Anthony.
I like the 4 as a real tough number. If you're asking me to go over or under, I think I might actually go over because I think 4 is really doable, and I think I don't know. I've got no real reasons here in mid-February, but I think 5 sounds more reasonable than 3.
Right.
Arizona's still got a long way to go as far as overall depth is concerned, regardless of how good this class is. So, I think it's going to be interesting to see, how they perform later in games. There's still a lot of this team's going to be 18-year-olds playing a lot older kids, a lot more developed kids. So I think it's a good trial by fire update, and Arizona might get beat up quite a bit. So with that in mind, even though the talent level goes up, I'd go under 4. Yeah, okay. 4 is probably a really solid number, and it makes you think quite a bit. So, it's phenomenal what Arizona has been able to do, but it's just the foundation and just the start. They've got to continue to do this year in and year out to get the program at a place where we hope it is. So you're still looking at a lot of guys this year, I think, who you say, yeah, that's a guy who can be really good down the road. Yeah, that's a guy who I can see the potential in that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Even as in the long term, there are still weaknesses across the board that other teams are able to exploit in the early going. So you hope that they're better. You hope you can see what it is they're understanding and trying to do. But overall, I think there's probably going to be a lot of L's on the schedule as well.
Mike, I think it kind of does set up somewhat similarly to 1990 because in 91, they come out, they have a bad year, they have 4 wins, but that 90 class ends up being the foundation for what happened 92 and further.
Right.
And the recruiting pitch for that 1990 class was the same. Come here and build with us. Don't go, maybe some of you could go somewhere else and be part of something that's going good right now, but come here, build something that's yours, be part of something on the ground floor that's special, which is exactly what Jed Fish is selling. But at least I think that 4 win level allows you the opportunity to build another class like this.
Right. And if you can build it
below that, I think that pitch isn't quite as effective. I think 4 keeps it going. And then the next year, hopefully you kind of win a little bit bigger and then you're rolling.
All right, guys, we got it. Everybody out there. AG, as always, thank you for coming on. Schuster, you're a backbone of the show. Ricky Garrett correctly points out. Give a shout out to the Lady Cats before you sign off. Payback tomorrow. Yep, great way to sign off there, everybody. We will be back with you next week. Ryan Hansen is coming on Monday, so he's making his debut, so that'll be fun. I'll get to bother him about a bunch of stuff he's probably never thought about in about 25 years regarding Arizona basketball. So, again, for Anthony Gimino, John Schuster, I am Mike Luke. You have been – hold on just a second here. The production quality for me is terrible. All right, see you guys. You guys would be in the running.